Genome editing. Human genome editing is a method for making specific changes to the DNA of a cell organism. It can be used to add, remove, or alter DNA in the genome. Human genome editing technologies can be used on somatic cells, which are non-heritable, germline cells, not for reproduction, and germline cells for reproduction. Application of somatic human genome editing has already been undertaken, including in vivo editing, to address HIV and sickle cell disease. And my mom has sickle cell anemia disease too. She's had it all, me and my siblings' lives. But back to the topic. For example, although somatic human genome editing is well established and acceptable for treatments in some scientifically advanced countries with regulations in place, challenges remain. These include the need to develop inclusive genome editing innovations that take note of the diversity of the human population and human experience. Other challenges are associated with rogue clinics, medical travel, as well as the reporting of illegal, unregistered, unethical, or unsafe research and other activities, including the offer of unproven so-called therapeutic interventions. So, heritable human genome editing refers to the editing of nuclear DNA in a way that may be heritable across generations. Heritable human genome editing is the subject of intense debate over its possible consequences for offspring and for society in general. They may pose greater safety and ethical risk than somatic human genome editing. Now I'm going somewhere with this video. I didn't think I was going somewhere where I'm going, but I found out throughout the video that I'm going where I'm going. So, follow me. Now, in many countries, especially in Europe, nations like France, Germany, Italy, Russia, China, and Canada had significant restrictions or outright bans on heritable human germline genes editing. Okay, and these changes have passed to offspring and sometimes on research, while regulating therapeutic gene editing differently, with countries like the U.S. prohibiting federal funding for germline work but allowing somatic therapies. Okay, bans often target reproductive uses due to the ethical concerns, designer babies, unknown long-term risk. But rules vary, with some nations like Japan have lighter regulations for gene therapy, and some countries banning specific GMO crops while allowing others. Now, do you see where I'm going with this? So let me ask you a question. Are you ready? Do you guys want to go down this route? Do you want to go down this route? Or do you want to avoid Satan? Because, through man, technology, it wants to live forever. And then look at the CERN and things of this nature. How we are tapping into the principalities, the powers, the rulers of the air, and the cosmos, and the things in, inner and outer space to help us on our voyage. The hidden secret knowledge of Azaziel and Enoch in Genesis. They're here, folks. They were here before, and they're here now. And our politicians, our electives, our elites are using these vices. It's so many rabbit holes that we can go down today, but I'm just gonna focus on them, who is the elite weeding us out, okay? And then them, also the elite who wants to live forever, okay? Remember the movie Splice? Now, let's take it back.
That the creators and their creation have, that I think most movies don't ever deal with. It's a genre film, but it's a thoughtful genre film. Our interest in films has always been to make films that are cut above what is expected within that genre. So if we're making a straight-ahead horror movie, then the idea is to make it a more thoughtful, intelligent horror movie.
Curiously enough, what I find scary about the splice is not the cloning or the genetic manipulation or the splicing of genes and all these things. What I find is that it's a sort of a horrible family story.
The difference between this and the kind of heroes fighting the monster is that they're nurturing the monster in this case. And the notion of falling in love or becoming infatuated with something that's not entirely human is...
You know, the best horror films or sci-fi films always are dealing with really essential human things.
Splice is a horror movie. It's a thriller. It's a science fiction film.
The best kind of horror films are morally dangerous.
In so many ways, it crossed the line, which I think is part of what the horror science fiction genre should do, is to cross those lines.
I think it's really important to push where our fears lie, you know, even if they're ones that we don't want to address or take seriously.
We're living in a world that is now science fiction has become a reality.
I felt clearly Clive and Elsa in creating Dren and the way they create her make mistakes, just as any parents inevitably make mistakes, but that they're well intended.
Dren! Dren, stop! Dren! I love this character. I don't think I've ever wanted to play a part as much as I wanted to play this part when I read her. I would have done anything to play this part. I think she's someone who's bursting with far too much life for one human being to contain, and so she ends up needing to drive things to their final conclusion, whether or not they're good for her and everybody else or not.
I can't imagine.
Très très dur. On a fait beaucoup de propositions et je pense que sur ce point de l'animation, pas que celui-là, mais ils ont été, d'après les retours qu'on a eus de Vincenzo, de Bob Munro, ils étaient assez contents qu'on ait poussé aussi loin l'humanisation d'une certaine façon de la créature.
On a essayé d'avoir justement une évolution logique.
And he got to run around and get coffee for people, and he doubled for David Cronenberg in a scene for us. And then he was going to make a short film. That was a movie called Elevated, and that's actually the film that got Cube greenlit. And then we made a little movie called Nothing. It was a very low-budget film, and it was a very unusual story, but it was all effects, wall-to-wall, which is typical with Vincenzo. And now Splice is the next film.
The story of how I became involved with Splice is a curious one. I was in a festival in Portugal, and Vincenzo was there, I think with Cypher maybe, or with Nothing. I'm not sure which movie it was, but I told him how much I liked Cube and how much I liked Cypher.
And at that time told him that, boy, if I could help you in any way, I would love to do that. Separate from that, Guillermo saw a film that I produced called Ginger Snaps and was a big fan of that film.
And we talked about a certain project, and I
didn't have enough money, didn't have enough time, didn't have enough whatever, and yet Vincenzo just rallies the people and they all come forward for him.
He's the sweetest guy, as anybody who works with him would say.
I never see this guy angry or bored, or he's just nice all the time. He's just very happy all the time.
He has such a distinct visual style, yet he never makes you as the actor aware of trying to fit into that. You know, you're really able to play a scene with integrity and with honoring the scene, and all of that's going on without your knowledge. So it's always a surprise when you look at the monitor and see playback and you see what beautiful images he's creating.
You know, for a relatively young guy who's done only a few movies, he's got a very, very strong point.
Lack of career as a director, just to see something brought to life like this has been incredibly encouraging. I mean, it's empowering. It's an amazing thing. A movie like Splice that's made at the level of a studio film, but without being at the creative strength of the movie. So Goma has put a lot of faith in us, a lot of faith in Vincenzo, but also a lot of faith in the whole co-production structure that we've put together. And in that regard, they've been fantastic partners.
So I hope that science fiction and fantasy and creature movies get small again, small and intimate.
I think that this film will be unlike anything that's ever been made. Like, I can think of aspects of certain films that to compare it to, but I think I think that they should be prepared to be kind of shocked by this film. I think this film will be shocking.
What I hope will happen with Splice is it'll be a hit.
My genes was something else. It might not make any difference whatsoever, but I would splice it probably with a gorilla. But then it would probably come out looking like me at the end of the day anyhow, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Somebody who can break dance. Can I splice myself with another human being who can break dance? Always wanted to be a break dancer.
I'd be like my dog. I just like be part me, part my dog. You know, he's like a Rottweiler with a corgi behind. So he has this great little sort of supermodel wobble. So I'd be like part Mars, part mutt, part actor, all sexy.
Come on over if you wanna have a good time. No more playing around, but now's the time to cross the line. Show me what's inside that soul, I'll let you feel mine. Come on, they said I'm on.
Now, what spiritual guide and or mind possessed this movie? What being was this inspired on? What creation? Let's take a look. Now, the movie Splice imitating life, right? Our life today is what we are seeing, right? As in the days of Noah. Geneticists Clive, Adrian Brody, and Elsa Sarah Pauli specialize in creating hybrids of species. When they proposed the use of human DNA, their pharmaceutical company bosses forbid it, forcing them to conduct experiments in secret. So the result is Dren, a creature with amazing intelligence and physical attributes. At first, Dren exceeds their wildest dreams, but as she begins to grow at an accelerated rate, she threatens to become their worst nightmare. Now, accelerated rate. Okay, the fallen ones, we're gonna get into it. The demoralization of mankind, the intercession of the angels on behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels, the messianic kingdom, a Noah fragment, chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget us children. And Zimjaza was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations, which is curses, upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders. Simeazaz, their leader, Arakiba, Ramiel, Kokabil, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Abarakijal, Azael, Amaros, Badarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Zamzapil, Zadarel, Terrell, Jomjael, Sariel. These are their chiefs of 10. And all of the others together with them took upon unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And then they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And Azaziel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of the working them, and the bracelets and the ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godliness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Zimjaze taught enchantments, the root cutting. Amoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakijal taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Shamziel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth and all the lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants, cry the voice of their crying unto the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men, make their suit, saying, bring out our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight. Thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel has done, who have taught all unrighteousness on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Simjazeh, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass. And thou seest things, and thou doest suffer them, and thou do not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these.